I don't use the app because if I was pinged, I would have to stay in London when I live in Manchester. Some people couldn't go to work, and it's in many cases it's for no good reason at all, and it is damaging.
You were against Freedom Day being delayed from June the 21st to July the 19th. What do you think about the subsequent rise in cases and the statement we had from the Vaccines Minister today?
I think that at the start of this epidemic, the focus was on preventing deaths and keeping people out of hospital and trying to do as little damage to the economy as possible. I felt throughout it sometimes the balance between the economy, which will eventually have to pay for the fight against COVID, has been out of balance. What is happening is that the link between infection and deaths and hospitalizations, if not completely broken, has really been loosened. And it has never really been the role of government to stop people getting infected from things that they can recover from. The more vulnerable in society will have to protect themselves, as they always have done, against infectious diseases. I'm very worried about the people being forced to self-isolate, because I think that's damaging the economy as well.
Do you have any sense, or have the government provided you with any figures of how many of those who are being pinged do actually go on to contract COVID? Because that might help the business problem that we've got.
It might. I think testing people and finding out if they actually do have COVID is important, because obviously you don't want to be going around if you're infectious and you have COVID. But the fact that you might have been near to somebody, I don't think is a good idea then to send somebody off to isolate them. I don't use the app because if I was pinged, I would have to stay in London when I live in Manchester. Some people couldn't go to work, and it's in many cases it's for no good reason at all, and it is damaging.
What sort of share of people do you think, Graham Stringer, have actually either deleted the app or aren't using the app? And aren't we in danger, if there is quite widespread non-observation, aren't we in danger of the government losing the consent that it has among voters and citizens to actually comply?
I think through the epidemic, the government have taken some wrong steps, and each time they make a wrong step, then people do lose consent. I was with a group of members of Parliament last night, and without releasing any names, none of them were using the app. I think confidence in the app has hit an all-time low. Testing is important, and keeping the confidence in the vaccine, which appears to be working, is important. I don't know the answer to your question about what the percentage of people who are pinged are hospitalised or are infected is, but we also need to know of those people in hospital, how many people have other diseases, how many people were already poorly, because one of the main centres for infection is hospitals. So you count as a death from COVID if you go into hospital in the final stages of terminal cancer. You get infected with COVID, you get into the statistics, whereas in actual fact COVID isn't the prime cause of your death. The vaccines appear to be working very well, and the sooner we get back to normality, the better.
Graham, you're a Labour MP, but I put it to you that you're an outlier in the Labour Party. You're one of 5 Labour MPs to vote against the 4-week delay to lockdown when it was delayed from June to July. Do you think your party have got it wrong, the party front bench, or is it just 5 of you that are you the ones that are outliers and really no one else agrees with you in the party?
I think there are a number of answers to that. There are different votes on different delays. There's been larger numbers than 5 or 6 who've voted again. One of the peculiar things about voting now, as opposed to at any time in the history of Parliament, is the whips have control of all the votes. You can tell them which way you want to vote. There are very few MPs here, so it's more difficult to rebel. I think that we're clearly in a minority. I think the party got it absolutely right at the beginning of this, not to turn it into a party political issue. Since then, I think that Keir and the front bench have stayed too close to the government. When they've made mistakes, we should have voted against them on a number of occasions. So I think in that sense, the party's got it wrong. And when it's coming to COVID passports for getting into nightclubs, then I think the party are beginning to get it right and being more critical of a government that is in chaos, quite frankly.
Final question, Graham. You have taken a very analytical approach. I've been following your writings and speeches throughout this pandemic. And similarly to you, I've been stressing that in terms of the actual share of tests that we're now doing, we're doing many, many more tests than other EU countries, of course. The share of tests that are positive, where it was 30% back in January, it's now just 3%. So my personal view is that the arguments are there to justify the end of lockdown measures if the government wanted to make those arguments and use that data. Why do you think Boris Johnson has become so hesitant in these last few days, even though, as you say, vaccines are working and the link between cases and deaths is breaking down?
I don't think anybody, even a psychiatrist, can find out or elucidate on the workings of the Prime Minister's mind. Sometimes he's appeared to completely ignore the science and the evidence, and sometimes he's been prepared to go way beyond it. He's gone from being ultra-liberal to ultra-cautious. I don't know. I have tried, I'm a member of the Science and Technology Committee, and we have spent hours and hours, days and days, looking at the evidence. And as you say, this epidemic is not. It's over as an epidemic. It has become endemic now. We will have to live with this disease, and to stop it infecting as many people as we can, certainly keep people out of hospital, and those people who are vulnerable out of hospital and safe. But we have to get on getting the economy back working so that we can afford to pay for the extraordinary costs that have been incurred during the epidemic. But as to the Prime Minister, I have he's all over the place.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.